CM Punk has just been eliminated by Kane at the Royal Rumble and he's deflated. Not only on screen but behind the scenes. But what will he do? Well, we begin our story the night after this timeline was forever altered. As CM Punk comes out in the middle of the ring, stands still and asks one very simple question. Do I have everyone's attention now? Then he proceeds to curse out the company, and just like last time, he's tearing the company to shreds and preaching the same values he did years ago. But as he's berating the company he works in, his microphone cuts out and Punk walks out frustrated. So after an attempted company burial, Triple H opens the show the following week and announces that CM Punk isn't in the building and that he will be reprimanded for his actions. However, Daniel Bryan's rise to the top is also occurring at the same time, so the game has his hands full. So with him focusing in on Daniel Bryan, the director of operations Kane continues to assault and brutalize CM Punk, which leads into the Elimination Chamber. And before Triple H takes on Daniel Bryan in a similar match to their real life counterpart at WrestleMania 30, Kane and CM Punk compete in a match with the stipulation that if CM Punk loses, he is fired. But does that happen? Well, after a very competitive contest, Punk lifts the big man up and drives him down with a GDS. Punk is still in the company, but Triple H won't be in the company of Batista and Randy Orton in the main event of WrestleMania, as Daniel Bryan overcomes the odds to punch his ticket to the biggest show of the year. So where does this leave the game and more importantly CM Punk? Well, with Kane defeated, Punk makes his target crystal clear: to tear down the Authority, and with no more lines of defense, the game challenges the straight edge savior to a match at WrestleMania 30, and with hatred in his eyes, CM Punk accepts. So leading into the show, the feud gets violent really quickly, with both men showing their pure anger towards each other for one reason or another. Nevertheless, it's time. Triple H vs CM Punk, WrestleMania 30, and it's a phenomenal brawl between the two men. No one has the advantage with both hitting everything out of their arsenal, although in the end, Punk makes Triple H go to sleep. CM Punk picks up the victory, but he isn't the only one, as Daniel Bryan finishes his story in the main event of the show. And the following night, the Yes Movement end up kicking off the show, and with no Authority in sight, Daniel Bryan announces his first challenger for his WWE Championship. And of course, it's CM Punk who walks out. And leading into the show, the rivalry between these two remains very respectful, as it's all about who is the best wrestler in WWE. So at Extreme Rules, the match is set and it's an absolute banger, and they're showing why they're the best in the world. They're throwing everything at each other. Punk hits a GDS and some more of his vintage offense, although Bryan retaliates with his own flurry of offense. But after 20 minutes of phenomenal technical wrestling, by the skin of his teeth, Daniel Bryan retains the WWE Championship. And everyone knows what happens to Bryan following this. But what about Punk? Well, with him having a ton of nagging injuries, according to the man himself, he'd have over a year off resting time, although he'd still do a certain Colt Cabana interview. Granted, it would be far more tame in comparison to our timeline, as CM Punk and WWE would ultimately settle things. So, when or does he even return? Could he be the number 30 entrant? No. Could he confront Triple H to kick off WrestleMania 31? Still no. It's looking like he may never come back. Extreme Rules, Payback, Money in the Bank, Battleground, all of these shows showered with CM Punk chants. Even SummerSlam gets the same treatment, especially with the title unification match between Seth Rollins and John Cena. Even with Rollins winning, the crowd still chant for Punk. But did I mention this was taking place in Chicago? And the crowd go absolutely ballistic. And so is Rollins, as before the show goes off the air, a stare down for the ages occurs. But with the Authority back in power, it's announced the following night that Punk has to earn an opportunity to face Rollins. Therefore, over the coming weeks, Punk is seen assisting John Cena and Sting against the Authority, whilst also having a mini program with New Day and more in particular, Kofi Kingston, as Punk believes Kingston can be so much more and pushes him to prove that. However, at Night of Champions, it's announced that there will be a tournament to crown the next challenger for the WWE Championship at Survivor Series. And with the Authority in the ring, they announce that the first match will take place tonight. But without any warning or preparation time, CM Punk is the first man out. And he is quite clearly livid at this. But who would his opponent be? Well, returning for a chance at the WWE Championship is the one and only Chris Jericho, and with the history between these two men, it's a vicious technical matchup, although in the end, Punk makes Jericho go to sleep. So Punk advances, and on the following night, he makes his feelings known towards Triple H with a promo in the middle of the show. However, the following week, Punk is in action against Cesaro in a star-making performance for the Swiss Cyborg. But can he overcome Punk? Well, after a 15-minute masterclass, Punk hoists the Swiss Superman up and plants him with a GDS. And just like that, Punk advances in the tournament, and the following week, it's time for the quarterfinals. CM Punk versus Kofi Kingston, who, although he sticks by the New Day side, he starts going into solo competition, with him managing to pick up victories over Luke Harper and Kevin Owens. And there is mutual respect between the two men, as Kofi Kingston sends New Day to the back, so it's a fair one-on-one contest. And the chemistry chemistry is off the charts between the two. It's looking like Kofi might be able to pull off the victory of his life. Punk is on the ropes, although out of absolutely nowhere, Punk hits a GDS from Kingston attempting a dive. So yet again, Punk manages to advance in the tournament, and now it's the week before Hell in a Cell, and it's time for the semi-finals. CM Punk versus Neville, who, similar to Kingston, picked up several big-time victories over the likes of King Barrett, Tyler Breeze, and Mr. Money in the Bank, Sheamus. And the match quality is also just as high as Punk's previous tournament matches. Neville has the speed and agility, whereas Punk has the experience factor. But once again, it's looking like Neville could get the humongous upset. But once again, Punk hits a desperate go-to-sleep to pick up the win. But who does he join in the finals? Well, at Hell in a Cell, CM Punk takes on Roman Reigns, who defeated Dean Ambrose in the semi-finals to get here. And the crowd are showering Punk with love and Reigns with hatred. However, Reigns is on top. He's smashing Punk into the ground, and it's looking bleak for the voice of the voiceless. Although similarly to the previous matches, he gets an opening, but instead he accidentally knocks the ref down, and Reigns goes ballistic. He gets a chair and starts hammering into Punk. Ambrose comes down to try and stop it, and he gets pummeled as well. And with the cheating, Roman Reigns picks up the victory and earns a shot at the WWE Championship. But at what cost? Well, on the Raw after Hell, it's full-blown warfare. Rollins, Reigns, Punk and Ambrose all talking and all brawling with each other, and it's announced that next week there'll be a tag team match which occurs when the babyface is going over. But unfortunately, some events cannot be changed. As with Seth Rollins injured less than 2 weeks away from Survivor Series, the planned main event has been thrown into disarray. However, due to Punk and Ambrose's distaste and hatred for Reigns, it's announced that Roman Reigns will be anointed as the new WWE World Heavyweight Champion, as out of respect for Rollins, he is keeping that version of the WWE belt. Although he isn't the champion, which gives Reigns 2 championships, although they are still united. But for how long? As it's announced it'll be a triple threat 2 out of 3 falls match, with each fall representing a championship at Survivor Series. So at the show, the match is set and it's absolute carnage. No one has the advantage, although during the chaos, Ambrose manages to nail the dirty deeds onto Reigns to become the new World Heavyweight Champion. But with carnage, there comes opportunity as Sheamus cashes in his briefcase on the World Heavyweight Champion in the middle of the match to become the new champion. And once the dust settles, the war continues. But who will walk out as WWE Champion? Can Punk become a 6-time champion? Can Ambrose get back-to-back victories? Can Reigns retain? Well, in the end, thanks to a legal low blow, Reigns manages to retain the WWE Championship after pinning Ambrose. So where does this leave CM Punk? Well, seeing as he never got pinned, Punk sets his sights on Roman's WWE Championship reign, as leading into TLC, it's an even playing field between the two when it comes to taking jabs on the microphone and in the ring, although in the ring it was a lot more vicious. So at TLC, the match is a TLC match, shocker I know, and it's an accurate representation of the build-up as weapons are used by both competitors in brutal fashions. Punk is matching Reigns' new style beat for beat, but he can't keep Reigns down to grab the championship, and Reigns pushes the ladder off and Punk is dangling. He's in a precarious position, but then Reigns does the unthinkable. Reigns has absolutely broken Punk in half. He's motionless, and thanks to possibly the OMG moment of the year, Roman's reign continues whilst Punk is at his lowest. Well, he has an opportunity to get everything he wants, the Royal Rumble, but he's going to have to put the shift of his life in to win as he draws the number 4 spot. And he's outlasting the field. He even gets a few eliminations along with a stare down with someone who could challenge CM Punk's title of being the best in the world. Although in the end, the final 4 are himself, Triple H, Sheamus, and Neville. And Punk is still in there. He even manages to eliminate Triple H and makes it to the final 2. It's him or Neville who can win. A rematch from their tournament match months ago. Can Neville redeem himself? Well, after a great mini match, Punk throws out the man who gravity forgot to become the 2016 Royal Rumble winner. But who will he choose? The WWE Champion Roman Reigns or the World Heavyweight Champion Dean Ambrose? Well, although he has history with both men, the following night, Punk makes his choice. So leading into the shows, Punk and Reigns' rivalry reaches a boiling point. They can't stay away from each other. Whether it be backstage or in the ring, neither man can resist beating the other down. And it's time for the main event of the evening. CM Punk versus Roman Reigns. The main event Punk always wanted. And it's a brilliant 25-minute match between the pair, with both throwing everything they can at each other to try and get the win. Reigns even manages to nail a spear, but Punk kicks out. But Punk retaliates and tries to make Reigns go to sleep, although he also just kicks out. They've thrown their best shots at each other. What more can they do to each other? Well, Punk has one big move left in stock, a move hardly ever performed in WWE, the Pepsi Plunge, and CM Punk nails it. He sprawls into the cover, and just like that, he is now a 6-time WWE Champion. Punk has finished his story, but if you like this video, I think this might interest you.